Hey everyone, welcome back to Clubhouse Talks. This week I brought on Sayler Shurtz, the young head varsity basketball coach at Herrin High School. He's been able to take his program from 500 ball to leaders in his conference and winning seasons in the talk of town. This is his first job as a head coach. He's been there for 6 years. So we dive into building a culture with the players and building a brand around town. And we dive into stories along the way that I think, even if you're not a coach, you can take away some lessons from. So hope you enjoy this interview with Sayler Shurtz. All right, welcome back to another episode of our Clubhouse interviews with some of our awesome clients. Today we bring on Sayler Shurtz from Herrin High School, the varsity head coach of the basketball program since 2018. I believe it's been your first head coach job, right, at Herrin?
Yeah, varsity basketball, that's first one here. It's been here 6 years. So
Awesome.
I was at a small school from El Dorado before that. So a town of about 1,000. So this is my 6th year at Herrin.
Sweet. So we'll dive into a little bit what it was like jumping into your first head coach job there, background on Herrin High School, and you've done some awesome job, I think. From the outside looking in, again, looking at like the record of the program, seems like you've grown the program to be success recently. And also on the marketing side, you always have some fun stuff on Twitter, Instagram. People are showing out to the games. It seems like the players are into it. So I'm going to dive into all that. I first want to start off, I want to say, I feel like you have the coolest office, is one of the coolest offices of all time, in that your home gym looks like the quintessential high school gym.
It is, yeah. And we love our gym, and we're actually trying to make some more upgrades, as we speak. But this is actually the first gym of its kind. So in 1949, the developer had an idea for an underground bowl. So in 1949, we were the first gym with this style, and it caught on a lot in Southern Illinois, Central Illinois, and over in Indiana. So we call it the first gym of its kind. It can fit about 4,000 people. Like I said, the underground bowl kind of, it gets that old school feel. And a lot of gyms you see now are kind of cookie cutter, the newest gyms. But it just has that old time feel to it, and we really are proud of it.
What's the underground bowl? What does that mean?
So he had an idea to fit more people in, be cost effective, to dig out, and the gym is actually underneath. So in the bowl, if you see the pictures, I'm trying to think of, kind of very similar to maybe how a football stadium is, but underground. He just had an idea for a cost-effective way and a way to not take as much space up above and dig out underneath and create kind of a really cool atmosphere.
Is the gym literally underground? And then
The gym's underground. Yeah,
that's sweet. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and so you walk in and it's fun having people come there for the first time. So it's a very unique gym. There have been a lot of kind of copycats around our way, but something we're really proud of. And actually, when they built the new school, the gym was so important that they built the school around the gym.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like, any gym, especially high school gyms and smaller gyms that have the wraparound seating too, I feel like is just, it's awesome watching games there. We have one close to us in Waukegan that's like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there are many other gyms around you that have that wraparound, but I feel like that adds to I don't know, even just the camaraderie, like the fans being there. It's a legit setup.
It is. We've talked about. I'm kind of an old school, new school guy, so I'm a Cubs fan. So there's not many of us down here, but I liked how they did with Wrigley. Wrigley, you keep that old time feel, but you improve and you make it kind of a worthwhile experience. And that's some things we're trying to do now, talking about making the bleachers black and just kind of when you walk in, an intimidating presence. And, that's something that I grew up, Southern Illinois, around here, Central Illinois has a lot of very cool gymnasiums. And it just kind of adds to the, nostalgia factor and the environment to high school basketball, because Southern Illinois high school basketball, you go back to the 50s, 60s, small towns, we're a town of 12,000, but we have 660 kids in our school. But Friday night, Saturday night, that's what you're going to do in small town Southern Illinois.
Yeah, I want to jump into that Southern Illinois basketball culture, and I've never been to Southern Illinois basketball games. It immediately what jumps to my head of what I see and like what I hear about it is kind of like Indiana high school basketball. What's Southern Illinois basketball about? What's it like?
It is, and you're exactly right. A very similar kind of environment for us around here. It's if you've ever seen the movie Hoosiers, it can get very similar at times. And I'll go get my hair cut, and we'll talk, about basketball. And everybody has a comment. Everybody wants to know how the team's going to be. And you look back at the success Southern Illinois basketball has had. It's been a lot. I had the opportunity to play at Benton, and my dad was a coach. I kind of grew up as a gym rat, and that was all that was important to us. So at Benton, there was legendary Rich Herrin. He coached at Southern Illinois University as well. It just you start looking at kind of the towns and the communities and how important it is to play the game. Like I said, Friday, Saturday night, that's what you're doing.
That's awesome. I'm sure I can't imagine being one of the students too, getting fired up to play. It's like Friday Night Lights football kind of feels too. That's great.
Absolutely.
So then specifically to Herrin, you joined 2017, 2018 season, going into your first head coach role. How old were you at the time?
27.
27. So you're young. What was the status of the program? What's the history of Herrin High School basketball as you entered into it?
Yeah, and you look at Herrin, talked about the 1950s. We won a state champion in '57. So I'm from a town about 20 minutes away, and so I grew up and played in the conference against the guys here from Herrin, and I know a lot of people from here. So when we came over here, initially, kind of these last kind of 10, 15, 20 years, Herrin's been kind of known as a football town. They had a lot of success with track, basketball, some great coaches and some great teams, but it was kind of known as a football town. So with the past, you look at some people. Steve Fisher was a Herrin graduate. He went on to coach for Michigan. You've got people that have gone. We played at Duke, Wisconsin. There's a rich history, especially out through the 50s. And for me, it was a chance to kind of. I'm a big nostalgia guy. Like I said in the beginning, I love the history of basketball. I love that small town community feel, packed gymnasium on Friday night. And for me to get an opportunity to come to a place like Herrin that does have a tradition of history, but in the last 10, 20 years, maybe focused a little bit more on football to kind of reignite that flame in the community. It's been nice.
So you're in your mid to late 20s, 27. You're dropped into like a leadership role where you have a lot of young men looking to you for direction, parents trusting you with bringing them to the system. Was that like a oh crap moment for you? Like I got a lot on my hands, or are you kind of fired up like you're born to be a coach? You knew what you're doing. It was no issue.
Yeah, a little bit of both, to be honest. I grew up, like I said, my dad was a coach. He coached in the early 90s, early 2000s. And I was able to see, that's something I wanted to do. I teach physical education here at the high school. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. And that's something I grew up with, and it was comfortable for me. And I just saw the joy that, my dad got out of competing still and building relationships with students and his players. And I knew that was something I was interested in. So for me, I was at a smaller school. I was actually teaching and coaching junior high basketball. And when this opportunity came up, I knew I wanted to kind of challenge myself and go to the next level. It happened a little bit quicker than I thought. I was supposed to be the JV coach the first year. We ended up kind of fast tracked that process. And I think I knew my shooting guard 2 days before our first game. So I didn't have a summer. It was a fast track process, but the first year was very challenging. At 27, I've got kids that are 16, 17, 18. I by no means at that time looked old enough to coach. I remember going to a local Casey's and I had a Herrin shirt on. A guy thought I was one of the players. So I said, I don't know what to take that as a compliment or what, but it was a challenging first year. We had guys that we had lost some seniors the year before. We had some guys in some new positions, but we were fairly young. And that first year was just all about the process of figuring each other out. And, it's tough. You come in and players want to challenge you, and you want to you want to do things your way, and you want those guys to buy into the process and say, hey, we trust what you're doing. So as a 27-year-old guy from a rival town coming over, it was a difficult first year. I had a lot of parent meetings. I had a lot of stuff that, as you build in the 6th year of doing this, you don't see a lot. But that first year, it can be trying. And you're right, just having a young group of guys trying to trust you, believe in you, it can be challenging at times. But at the end of that year, things started working out. The guys started buying in to what we were trying to do, and they knew that I cared, and that was the most important part.
Yeah, for somebody stepping into their first head coach job, or and this can, I feel like, apply to a lot of different things, but something you were kind of tossed into it, like you said, like a little bit quicker than you thought you were. Things like having those parent meetings and stuff like that probably weren't really fully trained to run. And so, would you have any advice for somebody stepping into that first role, into the side of it of being a leader for the athletes and also the parents, and kind of how big learning lessons you had that first year?
Yeah, just to be yourself. I know that's kind of a cliche, and you probably hear that all the time, but don't change for anybody. If we always say more salt, less sugar, and tell the truth, hold people accountable. That is what's important as a coach, because they might not like it in the beginning, temporary, right then, but in the long run, they know that what you're doing is for them, and it's the best interest. So that was the thing, just stay the course. You see that with a lot of, whether you talk about head coaches at the professional level, at the collegiate level, hey, it's just high school basketball, but, we don't get to recruit. We've got the kids that come in from the community. And, for us is, building that trust, building those relationships. That's the first thing you have to do. That kind of authoritarian coaching style nowadays is it's gone. You can't just say, hey, you do it or else. Kids want to know why. Players want to know why you're doing these things. So it's very important to build that relationship. And I thought that first 2 years, building a relationship with those kids allowed them to trust me and my coaches and what we were doing.
Yeah, I feel like having a lot of confidence is important. That at that beginning, you're talking about like staying the course. I can't imagine in your first role being challenged for whether even just be like the first practice or the first few practices, and having immediate doubts of like, am I doing this right, or was that the right move, and doing this with that player. And so I feel like staying the course is probably really hard to do at first, because you don't know if it's right or wrong. But having confidence in yourself to do it consistently is probably one of the most important things. And if you have that underlying relationship with players, I feel like at the end of the day, there's not a lot of wrong steps you can make if you're being consistent and you're being honest in those relationships. People will trust you in the long run, it sounds like.
Yeah, you got to be flexible, and it's one of those things where you hear a lot of kids are different these days, and they are. I mean, it's the truth, but parents are different too, and a lot of things are going in. I always say, I'm kind of an old school, new school. I can understand, and you have to be able to relate to your guys. You see that once again at the collegiate level. You have to be able to relate, and that's one thing I always want to try to stay in the know. Ask them what's going on. Hey, what kind of music you listen to, and all those things. You're like, yeah, come on, every coach does that, but they're important. You want to stay kind of up to date on things they're into, and they appreciate that stuff. And you got to think about it, as a PE teacher, and these guys, I'm with them 4 or 5 hours a day sometimes, and that's more than maybe they see their family. And so you build close relationships. You see these guys all the time, and you really do want what's best for them all the time.
What was your vision? You're hired and stepping into the office first day. What are you writing down on your board? What's your goal when you walk in? What's your vision for the program?
Yeah, for me, it's a chance to kind of compete coaching, and you play high school sports, and I was a decent high school player. I was nothing special, but I just loved to compete, and for me, it was an opportunity to take control of a program and compete again and run my program and see, hey, these are the things that I've seen. You take a lot from other coaches, and you see other people do things. You say, I want to do something my own. I want to create something my own. For this program, we knew that you start looking back in the last 20, 30 years, and not a whole lot of winning seasons. And no disrespect to any coaches or anything before me. I wanted a chance for, in Southern Illinois, a team like this, a team that I played against, a team in our conference that I grew up with. I would like to be in charge of this program and be successful. And I think just the competitor in me, the vision was to, make a name, not only for myself, but the town of Herrin. And, you do it for the kids. And I'd be lying if I said, hey, I didn't want to be one of the best coaches in Southern Illinois and Illinois. You go into that program, you want to build something, and you want to make your mark. And we talk about little things, we probably talk about later, just kind of making a logo. So every time somebody sees your logo, hey, just like you guys, with your Clubhouse Athletic, what's that mean? That logo has a presence. And for Herrin Tiger basketball, when they see that logo, they play hard and do things right, and they're winners. And for me, the vision was to just be in charge of a program that does that. Like I said, I was very fortunate to watch my dad do things, and I've taken things from him as a coach, and he was a successful coach. And to be able to say, hey, I want to put my own twist on it. I want to do my own thing. And I'm very passionate about the game of basketball. And in Southern Illinois, it's a very passionate topic. And, for me is getting a great group of coaches together and just leading young men. And it's been something we started back at the beginning is we want to win conference championships. We want to win regional championships. We just got our second conference championship a week ago. This conference has been since '93, and we hadn't won one since we got here. So we're very proud of that. And to win a postseason, we won the first 3A regional here at Herrin. We're a town of 12,000 with 660 kids. And, we compete against the Chicago Simians, not compete against them, but we're in the same 3A class as those guys in East St. Louis. So if we get out of a regional, we got to play somebody that's double our size. So not to, tap ourselves on the shoulder or anything, but we're proud of what we've kind of accomplished in these 6 years.
I have another question about the program's growth. I noticed there was looked at your records. It was about 500, and then your first year was a little down year, and then since then you guys have been like skyrocket. Did you just have incredible talent join the past couple of years? Did you guys just coach differently? How did that happen?
Yeah, I think, that first year we didn't have a summer with them, and that's very important. Like I said, I met my shooting guard 2 days before the season started because we are such a big football town that football in the fall comes first. And so that first year we lost 6 games. 4 of them were overtime, and the 2 others were at the buzzer. So we very well could have been 18-12. We were 12-18. And we had a group of juniors that are very talented, but it was a process of getting to know, each other. The next year,
first year, you losing if you look at the record,
mm-hmm.
First year as a head coach, are you damn,
yeah, it's tough. It's you don't want to be known as a losing coach. So the one thing that was really, really proud of my guys, just the competitor in you. I'm still 28 years old, and there's doubts and there's people that are maybe saying, hey, maybe he's not the guy for that position. And we got together over the summer and said we're going to work our butts off and we're going to do everything we can to prove people wrong. And we knew we had a lot of talent coming back, but it just we weren't a team, and we worked on a lot of things. We went to a place called Holiday World over in Indiana, and we spent a couple of days there, and team building, team bonding, and stuff like that. That when adversity strikes, when it gets tough, that we knew, hey, we're a team. We've got each other's back, and so to able to do that second season, and we played in a very tough tournament to start the year. We only won 2 of our first 5 games. And so it was tough getting out to a start. We lost our first game of the year. There were a lot of expectations. Then we go on kind of a 17-game winning streak, and we end up 27-5 with our first 3A regional. So after that, those guys bought in, and it's easy to, hey, this is how we do things, but you have to win. People want to see you win. When you win, people are more likely to step in and buy in. So we were lucky to have some success that second year. And, the next year we lost 4 of our 5 starters, but in the regional championship, we ended up knocking off the 10th team in state. And, we had a lot of success in that time. And then COVID hit, and it was almost kind of getting back to where you were as a program. And these last 2 years, we're back in the mix, and 2 seasons and a conference championship. And we feel like these guys have once again bought back in, and they're trusting kind of the process. I know that's overused word, but they are, and the culture is great where it is right now.
Yeah, and I agree. You got to win to get people bought in, but at the same time, to give you credit, like the chicken before the egg, like you have to be bought in to get the wins. Like you can't just get the wins, wait for the wins, and get people bought in. So when the going got rough and you have your first season, you very well could have been like, gosh, I don't know if this is going to be the right fit for me. It seems like, maybe there was that time for you. I don't know, but it seems like you dug your heels in and said, we're going to go to for the place in Indiana, but we're going to do these things. We're going to, build a culture. We're going to double down. So to your credit, you got people bought in before you got those wins, and that's why you're kind of starting the flywheel there. You have to start somewhere, and in that down point, I'm sure that was tough, but it's clearly started a good wheel for Herrin.
Yeah, and as a coach, and I could sit here and act like you never doubt yourself, but it's just realistic. And I'm sure with position, you starting your own company and your brand, there's times where you have doubts, but going through that adversity, it really does make you stronger. I talk about all the time. I had 6 parent meetings my first year. Everybody wanted to question everything you're doing, and you just got to stick the path and stick with what you believe in. And if what you believe in and what you're passionate about is, you think you're doing the right thing, it usually ends up working out for you, because you do put that time in, you put that energy, and you'll be rewarded. It might not be instantly, but you'll be rewarded with what you do.
It's one of those things of being in a position of like you brought up my business, of being in a position of being the founder of a company or a head coach, is like, there could be those moments of doubts, but there's also like, there's nowhere to run. It's all eyes on you. And so that is a little bit of like, it helps a little bit of like, all right, there's no other choice but to face it head on and build it from there. And so while it can be tough, there's also like the blessing of having all the responsibility. Is who else is, all the parents are turning to you for the parent meeting, and you're not going to turn to your assistant coach, and you will for advice and stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
So it could be scary, but it sounds like you kind of took that head on. 6 parent meetings. That's and the team's losing. It's got to be hard.
It got one of those where I was just going next. It was one of those deals. So,
yeah.
But it made me kind of who I am now as a coach. You have experiences. You hear it all the time. The best teacher's experience, and you wouldn't know what to do if everything just worked out right away. So, that's kind of your best teacher sometimes.
Definitely. Was it a focus in terms of the culture you're talking about the brand of Herrin basketball? Was that like something you thought over, like this is who we're going to be, or is it something that you was going to come natural, just the type of person you are and the type of program it was going to be?
Absolutely. Yeah. I want our program to be a reflection of myself. And, that's a hard thing to do, but, it's kind of funny. Sometimes you talk about high school basketball, and around here, it's still very, very important, but you want to be a face of the program, and you want your players, you want your program to reflect you. So, you always got to be on your P's and Q's. You always want to do things right. You always want to make the extra effort for your program to be successful. But, a lot of my life is spent this program right now. I have a fiance. I don't have kids, but I spend a lot of time pouring, blood, sweat, and tears. And I've got a great group of coaches that have that same vision of, we want to put ourselves on the map. And you want to look back, and I talk about these. We post our team pictures if you want a conference and a regional up in our gymnasium. You want to come back 10, 15 years from now and, walk by your picture and say, hey, I was part of this culture. I helped start this. I was part of this program. And for smaller Southern Illinois communities, it means a lot to come back in a gymnasium and, see your picture and see your record and see what you've accomplished.
Is for somebody starting with a blank slate that, is going to try to make their own mark in a program, what would you say is most important in terms of building the culture for the program? Is, I see you guys do summer camps, or you guys do youth programs, or you visit an elementary school. Like, what's important in building a program for you guys?
It's getting with the community. It's, that was one of the first things is reaching out to the community. They love sports here. It's always been a town that has really taken pride in their athletics. So for us, what we wanted to do is just reach out to the community, get them involved. It's easy to fill the stands when you've got a great team. It gets tougher when you don't have a great team and a mediocre team. So we wanted to get them involved right from the beginning, introduce myself, my coaches, and kind of just tell them what we're all about. And, when you're passionate about something, people tend to follow and people get interested. So we wanted to let everybody know how passionate we were about what we do and, how much basketball means to us. And that way you start looking at kind of schools, and I'll continue to say it kind of around here where it's smaller communities, they are very proud of their schools and it's kind of their identity of their town. And, people like to go to the coffee shop. They like to go out, eat and brag about their school and brag about their town. And sports are, in my opinion, are a direct reflection, a lot of being able to do that. So for a young coach to go out there, stay true to what you do, but get involved with the community, get involved with the younger generation. That's where it starts. And that was something we really wanted to start with our junior Tiger programs is, we started with our first year, we had 40 kids, and now we're averaging about 90 to 95 kids in our junior Tiger program. So it's important to really make an impact on that younger generation. So when they get to high school, they know what it's all about, and really stress and say, hey, all my life I want to be a Tiger and I want to play Tiger basketball. And for us, reaching out to the younger generation, reaching out to the community, it's really been helpful.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of just making the opportunity for people to show support, and that could be getting yourself out in the community and being with people, or it could be doing things like the junior basketball program. And it goes the same with business. Like, you just need to get yourself out there to give yourself the opportunity to make people interested or not, and they have a choice. But something like Herrin basketball or a local basketball team, like, if you're getting out there, you're going to have people that want to, go to the games. Like you said, even if it's a bad team, you're in top of mind. They're aware of you and they're connected to you, and they're gonna say, "Oh, I met Sayler last week. I want to go see his team this weekend." Or I met the point guard last week, and he was at my kid's junior basketball program. And I think that will go a long way with people being involved in the program. It's awesome when I heard about the junior basketball program. Was that what was that growth like? Was that just because you've opened up more what's it called, events, or like how'd you grow that?
Yeah, so I was involved with summer camps all the time. Being around, like I said, being around it all the time, I was able to get a good idea of what I wanted to bring, and that's where it starts. It starts with the younger generation, and so we had our first summer camp. Like I said, we had, I think, 42 kids, and then we started opening up to boys and girls, and we go from grades in the summer, 2nd through 8th. And then our junior Tiger programs, which you guys helped us out with the jerseys, they look amazing. We do a program during the winter that gets us ready for our travel teams. And for us, it was based a lot on skills and, learning the game of basketball. I think nowadays you start to see a lot of stuff is just, I call it popcorn soda league. They go out there, they put on a jersey, and they run around, and they don't know the skills and the fundamentals of the game. And that's kind of been lost. So for us, it's very important to teach the fundamentals and, kind of show the game of basketball at a young age. So when they get to high school, junior high, they not only know us, but they know what we expect, and they've learned the game of basketball with us. So it's been great this year. You know, a lot of our junior Tigers, we have them come play at halftime. We have them come to Junior Tigers night, and we do things like that really get them involved with the high school players. You start looking at, I mean, we've got young kids bringing pictures that they've drawn to our athletes. They take pictures with them after the game, and you know, you're really building that relationship once again with your community.
I feel like we're on the same age, and like it's easy. I start to realize how quickly those junior Tigers start to become like the incoming class.
Yeah,
I feel like that is, when I was in high school, I figured like, oh, they're way down the road, but that makes a pretty quick impact really to a program when kids are bought in at a young age and they look up to the varsity team as like the NBA team, and they want to be on that roster, and that goes a long way. Even if they don't play, to just show up to the games and support. Um, that's, I know, is really special for young kids, and as I'm getting older, I realize how quickly that they grow up and join the program. We started in 2017, so kids 6 years younger. It's great. When they were in like fourth grade,
yep.
and they're coming in high school. It's wild.
And that's what's been crazy for me. You start to think about it, because I'm sure you're the same way. Life starts going on. You're like, oh my gosh, I've already been here 6 years. So I've got one of my players from my first and second year. He helps out with coaching now. So it's all just, I know culture is one of the most overused words kind of in sports and business and sometimes, but it really is. You're building a culture that kids grow up in and want to be involved in the future.
Yeah, and you get to see that, especially on like a local level. The school's going to be there, and somebody in fourth grade is going to be in high school before you know it, and that's a cool thing. Your investment in the culture is going to pay dividends for the program in years to come, which is cool for somebody in your position. I had one more thing to talk about with the youth program. Who's inside of it? Wanted to dive in, but might come back to it. We'll chop it up.
That's right.
Give me a second. Let's think about it. Oh yeah, in terms of like, you joining into a new community is, I think, sometimes good to have some like young, fresh blood into a new program, because you just see it from a different point of view, and you see different opportunities. And this is no like disrespect to a local community doing one thing one night, but you can kind of get like set in the ways of like, yeah, this is the way our program is. Like we have 35 kids for our youth program every year, and that's the way it is. And sometimes it's good to get some like different perspectives. Like, no, there's a lot of kids in town. Like they should be involved, and like we should open up to girls, and like these different ways to activate a program. I think a lot of times local programs need that, because they're kind of get set in their ways almost. And that sounds like really negative, but like it's just because they don't want to be pushy and everyone's just local. And they think, oh, well, people know the basketball program's there. If they want to do it, they can. And I think you did a good job of just kind of relaunching it almost in a way. It sounds like bringing girls in and having a focus on development, and then other parents, small town people talk and be like, oh yeah, Jimmy's in this, you should join this. And I think that goes a long way, having some fresh blood. And did you see that? Did you see that from parents of like, oh wow, I didn't realize that Herrin could have this junior program or something like that?
Yeah, it's all about adapting, and that's the one thing we talked about too. Is sometimes when you do these camps, once you get to fifth, sixth grade, you start to find your athletes and who's been involved. But we really stress is, hey, we don't care if you've never played a game of basketball or not. We want you to come to our camp. We want you to learn, and it's not who can shoot the best or who can dribble the best. We want you involved in competing and having structure at a young age, because that helps. Maybe basketball is not your sport or your activity you want to do, but it gets you involved in a camp and allows you to be around coaches, allows you to be around your high schoolers, and hey, maybe it's a tennis camp. We've got a tennis instructor that does a very good job with the youth program too. and you see a lot of overlap. And that's the one thing we just talk about is I was able to teach at the elementary level for a couple years too. So it's been helpful with from kindergarten to seniors in high school, how to approach different age groups and just say, hey, we want you to be involved. And opening it up to girls was great for us. Uh, there's not a lot of girls basketball programs around here, and we were able to mix this last year, and now we've got more of the girls coaches on board, so they see kind of what we're doing and they want to be involved. So it's just always adapting, always, like you said, bringing something kind of fresh and new. Don't get stagnant. Complacency is a killer, and we talk about that not only in our high school program but everything we do. You don't want to be complacent.
Yeah. So then one thing, I think one of the biggest things I noticed when I started following along with you, playing off this, like building the culture in the community and kind of raising awareness about Herrin basketball, was around the marketing side of it. I'm calling it marketing, although I feel like around high school sports, people don't call it marketing. It's just kind of posters and flyers. But it seems like it had been a focus for you when you joined. Was that, when you joined, was that kind of were you kind of creative that way? You like to inspire people that way? What was your thought process?
Yeah, kind of branding. I think maybe we could call it. That's the reason we did our logo. And if anybody knows anything about basketball, we just took the old Detroit Pistons logo and made it with ours. But still a Bulls fan, but I did like that logo. It was easy. But for me, it's just branding and getting our logo out there and reaching out to the community. Like I said, that brings people to games. That gets everybody involved. And you look back maybe 15, 20, 30 years ago, there were not as many distractions. And we talk about it all the time. You can stay at home this weekend, watch Netflix. You can be on your phone. You have so many other things that can maybe take you away from a high school basketball game. So for us, we want to do fun things to keep our people aware of what's going on in the program, and we're always trying to invite. And you're kind of advertising, you're kind of marketing and branding so that you can get more people at your basketball game and more people for your fundraisers. And we do a lot of fun things. We have an alumni league over the summer, and it brings back all of our alumni, and it gets a chance to play with our current players. And we do 5 weeks during the summer on Sundays, and we have an alumni league and alumni tournament. And it's fun seeing, at the end of June, how many people will show up in our gymnasium to watch the old people play and the young people play. And we try to do little things like that just keep people involved, because it's tough to get people sometimes to come to a game because it's easier. People want to watch online, and we want to make our experience at our games not only say, hey, the team is exciting, come out and watch these guys, but Friday night, be around, other community members and just be involved. And like I said, when you're a part of a town and a community that's a little, on the smaller side, they're very, very proud of their sports. And when you're winning, it's something they're even more proud of.
The Alumni League, I've never heard of a program doing that, but I know my town would have loved it because the guys always are looking for the gym to play some organized pickup in. I can't imagine your guys love to come back and play in that league and be competitive again. Most of them probably have to go to play intramurals in basketball and want to get out and competitive again. So I'm sure that's a amazing experience. And again, buying into culture, and you're kind of like restarting that wheel of people staying connected, which is super important.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I wanted to pull up, I was trying to find it. I should have had it pulled up before. But along this creative marketing side, I saw a carousel of Sports Illustrated type photos you did with your team. Which again,
pull it up, I got it right here. So I don't know if you can see
great.
Yeah, we did multiple ones. Like I said, I'm just a fan of, growing up and having Sports Illustrated at your door. And I just was always one of those guys that just loved kind of the different things you could. I remember that way before my time, but the Larry Bird cover with, we had our he was an all-state 3A guy, and we had Hayden. His favorite player is Larry Bird, and we had him create it. And we call it Herrin Illustrated. So I kind of got together with one of our local guys, and he came in and took some pictures, and we did 3 to 4 different covers and stuff like that. The kids loved it, and I always try to think, what would I like when I was playing? What would be something that I would be interested? And I kind of laugh at myself. I don't want to grow up. I still kind of want to be involved with this stuff, and I have a great relationship with my kids and the players. We have a good time and stuff like this. I want to make for them just so they can remember, 10, 15 years down the road. Making memories is important. We want to win. We want to go as far as we can. But this is the stuff that they tend to remember once it's all said and done.
Yeah, no, that's really special. And obviously you have a focus on developing, but having a little bit of time set away or something set away to make sure there's, like you said, making memories and funny things like that go a long way, I think, and making the players feel special too. And like, kind of sounds cheesy, but I mean, sure, those players, maybe not in the moment, they're seniors and they're 18 and like, I don't care, but 10 years, 20 years down the line, they're gonna have that photo and like laugh at it and show their kids, and that's really special. And I thought that was a great thing, playing into the branding of it. And another, I think, was when we first started working together was this Pink Out Night jersey. I think that was the first time we did. And we sell to like a number of high school coaches, and I don't think anyone's had a one-off jersey for a Pink Out Night. Tell me about what Pink Out Night is for Herrin High School. How long have you guys been doing it, and how it's been going?
Yeah. This was our 12th annual Pink Out Night, and it's one of our, for obvious reasons, it's an emotional night, but it's one of our biggest attended games all year. There's just something special about it, to be able to, at halftime honor survivors. They walk during halftime, and we give them a pink flower, and we're able to just appreciate and honor people, because everybody's been affected by cancer one way or another. And for us, it is such an emotional game, and the sense of, play for somebody that that's been affected, or play for that person who can't. I have a cousin that passed away at 22 from Ewing sarcoma cancer, and I wear a bracelet to this day to honor her and remember her. And so games like this to bring out your community and honor those people that have either beaten cancer or been affected by it. I thought it was just such a cool night and experience. And with working with you guys, we talked about it, and everybody's kind of got the pink T-shirts and stuff like that. And I just kind of wanted to take a step further, and we're able to have these Pink Out jerseys, and you guys hooked us up. And like I said, one thing I always loved about it is just, it's not your average, hey, blank pink jersey. You guys go into the customization of it. And for us, I'm a big Illini fan. So being able to see just the quality and the detail of your guys' work, and to be able to take it a step further, we auctioned these jerseys off, and we ended up raising, I believe, $2,800 by auctioning these jerseys off. So it's a great night, and we're able to give back. And like I said, these guys, the past 2 years, when I introduced the Pink Out uniforms, they get excited. So it's just overall, it's an awesome night.
That's amazing. I didn't know you guys auctioned them off too. That's an awesome way to do it. Is that is the event in general? Is it like a awareness event? Do you guys do other fundraising at the gym? What's that like?
Yeah, we do 50/50s. We have all kinds of stuff. We do, people will bring in and have silent auctions. And I go just off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly where it all goes to, but I think it's just the American Cancer Awareness fundraiser we do it for. We donate to them. So But yeah, it's a special night. We open up our commons, and we probably have 6 to 7 tables of people just raising money. I think last year it was $16,000 that we raised. For our portion, we were able to raise $2,000, almost $3,000 actually, with the jerseys. And it's a great night, and it's something that I was so glad to hear about when I came here, because it really is special.
Yeah. And again, it's one other thing to kind of keep, I think the players, like, again, as like 17, 18-year-olds, it's a good kind of way to bring something up that's important for them, and something that maybe as high school boys, they're probably like, shy away from intense things like that. But you kind of show them how important it is. And when you say community raise $16,000 and pay $3,000 for their game used jerseys to raise money for it, it's hard not to feel how important it is for that. So that's really special too. I think that's it in terms of everything I wanted to cover. I feel like, again, thank you for your time. I feel like Herrin basketball, like Max and I sit next to me, we're like, we need to get down there and see a game. The gym looks so cool. It seems like a great energy over there in Southern Illinois. So
Yeah, it's been
hopefully we
fun.
get there at some point.
I appreciate you guys always just helping with us. And I don't mind, talking about just how important you guys have been to kind of helping out with our brand and our marketing. And, right from the beginning, I knew, and that's just something like I said, that first jersey. So IHSA has rules where you can't have patterns and stripes, but I remember talking to you about mixing the Grizzlies jersey and the Raptors jersey. And other people I've talked to is always just kind of, I don't know if we can do that, or it was very, I don't know, it wasn't what I wanted. And that was the big thing when talking to you guys. You're like, whatever you want, we'll do, and we're not going to skimp on it. We're going to do it, and it always looks professional, and it's always the real deal. And that's why we're so excited, to kind of build this relationship with you guys. And man, I just look at some of the concepts we've talked about and done. And I remember getting the black jerseys, the first jerseys or uniforms we ordered from you guys. And you know how a jersey reveal is with some of these guys. They were pumped, excited, and I've just always appreciated how you guys always responded. Hey, little tweak right here, no big deal, we got it. So I want to commend you guys on what you guys have been doing as well, and I'll continue to refer everybody I know to you guys because you guys do a great job.
Appreciate it. We got to get your whole conference, Clubhouse Athletic for everybody facing off. I love it.
Absolutely, man. I said, hey, here in the deep South, I'll do my best because you guys do great work, and like I said, we're always willing to work with us.
Yeah, of course. My whole thing was I originally started making it for my stuff for like my own programs I was in or college teams, whatever, I was having fun with it, and then or trying to sell my own brand, and I realized my friends or my parents' friends, whoever, didn't come to me for much stuff that I was selling. They wanted their own things. And then I kind of picked up slowly, like, the whole reason I get excited about stuff is to make awesome stuff for what other people are passionate about. So like in this instance, like, you're passionate about growing your program and your brand around town, like, that's what we're locked into and making that look cool versus us. And so when you come to us with an idea, like, that's our whole goal is like, Sayler has this vision, let's bring it to life, and we'll try to add our own couple of ideas to help polish it off. But our whole idea is to kind of open up this world of manufacturing and customization to people that have priorities in other parts. They're not trying to design; they just have an idea and want someone to make it. So
absolutely, you guys have been perfect for our program, and we appreciate you.
Love it. I appreciate the time. We'll cut it up, and I'm sure I'd love to have you on again soon. Where you guys at in the season right now?
We have our last home game on Thursday, and then we'll start regionals. So we're playing pretty well right now. We're 25-4. We just won conference. We've got a good shot at regional. Regional championship will be tough this year, but we've got an experienced group, and like I said, for us 3A, it's if you can win a regional, it's almost like winning a sectional now. We're about 670 kids. We'll play teams that are 1,200, 1,300. So it's a little bit tougher, but these guys have adjusted, and they've got their sights on a regional championship.